Oh, hello there. I'm Jesse Roberts, the creator of Wrongfully Accused. I'd like to welcome you behind the scenes to see how some of my favorite shots were created on this film. Come take a look. Okay, let's start off with the Limited Light and Magic logo. I really wanted to incorporate the four elements, earth, air, fire, and water. Also primary colors, which is why the title goes through red, blue, and finally yellow. And also a sense of transformation, which is what the company Limited Light and Magic really represents. I sort of copied the company name from obviously the best special effects company out there, Industrial Light and Magic. I still stand in awe at the effects that they've created, and I've always wanted to emulate them. When I realized that I could animate in Photoshop on my computer, I immediately wrote Microwave and began filming it. The limited in the title comes from the fact that I was using a 10-year-old computer running Windows 98. I now have a newer computer, but I'm still using Photoshop for animating, so I'm still quite limited as to what I can do. For the digital hamster logo, I wanted to have a bionic hamster, but it would have took too long to animate it frame by frame, so I did the walking animation myself and put a digital hamster on top of me. Funny thing is, it's not even really a hamster. I don't have the internet and couldn't find any pictures of a hamster, so I just used a picture of a prairie dog. This entire film was shot in front of a green screen, which means that every background had to be added in afterwards. Every background was pieced together using several pictures and textures, some of which you're looking at right now. The textures were distorted to create the illusion of a 3D perspective. The toilet that is used in some of the backgrounds is actually the toilet that I use every day. The toilet tank was removed using Photoshop so that it would look more like a prison toilet. The stains, however, were not photoshopped. You are now looking at all the layers that were composited together in order to create shot 8. This is one of the first shots created for the film, and it's one of my pet peeve shots because the perspective of the background doesn't quite match the perspective of the actress. The idea for shot 3 was devised very early on in the conceptual process. The execution of this shot was fairly easy, because, like shot 8, it only has one vanishing point. Shot 17, on the other hand, was more difficult, in that it has two vanishing points to worry about, and both character elements had to be shot separately. Since the tone of the film is dark and depressing, I thought it would be a good idea to go with black and white, but also have certain areas of the film pop with saturated color. Having seen this effect done before, I knew it was an interesting visual. The next few shots show how the look was achieved. So here's the original shot of the actress in front of a green screen. Next, the green is removed and the film is desaturated. Then the part of the film to be colored is isolated and then saturated. Because the hue of the lips was also found on the actress's skin, a simple color selection couldn't be used, so a digital cookie cutter was used on every frame of the film for isolation. And then finally the color element is laid over top of the black and white film and the background inserted. The same technique is used on the eyes. The green is removed from the original footage and the film is desaturated. The iris is isolated and saturated, and all the elements are composited together. Shot 31 is one of my favorite in the film. Water, ketchup, and barbecue sauce were used to achieve the perfect color and consistency for the blood. The color of the hands was just different enough from the color of the blood that I could use a color selection to isolate the blood this time. But if I had to do the shot over again, I probably would have made the blood blue so that it could be selected easier. I'm quite proud of the final composite and the surreal quality that it portrays. After writing the script, I realized I hadn't solved the problem of how to get Angie's ghost into the cell. It didn't take long before I concluded that she would just naturally meld through the bars. So I came up with this shot reminiscent of one in James Cameron's Terminator sequel. They say imitation is the greatest form of flattery. The ghosts seen at the end of the film are actually just bits of plastic bag tied to wire and then flown around inside of an aquarium. The ghosts were actually added very late in the editing process because I realized that the ending of the film just wasn't intense enough. I'm glad I added them because it really adds to the atmosphere. From the very beginning, I knew that the final shot had to be an extremely terrifying image, so I distorted the actress's face and gave her big gaping eye sockets. But I decided there is still something missing. Teeth. That's where my chihuahua comes in. I photographed the upper section of Lolita's teeth, cut them out, doubled them, and carefully matched the movement to the actress's mouth. The final shot results in a truly terrifying image. Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed watching the film as much as I did creating it. Until next time, keep making shit.